All right, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second official Last Token Gaming interview. Our first was last year when Sean Willis did a Let's Play of Hive with the Game Zone company founder Sean Colombo. And I'm lead editor Marshall Garvey, joined by staff writer Jake Rushing. Jake, good to see you.
Howdy ho, good to see you too.
Today we are joined by 3 Flip Studios' Rob Howland, Brandon Jones, and Anthony Prusakowski.
There you go, you got it.
I got it,
First
all right.
try. First try.
Excellent. They're the minds behind the forthcoming game Armed and Gelatinous, a multiplayer shooter where interstellar blobs blast away at each other with various weapons. But the more weapons they grab, the bigger and slower they become, lending the gameplay a bit more to strategy than just simply shooting away at your opponents. Jake had the privilege of visiting their table at this year's Game Developers Conference in San Francisco and got to sample this simple yet highly creative game. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again for joining us, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on.
Great to be here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So first question is, this game was made as an entry in the 2013 48-hour game-making challenge and ended up being the winner. For those who haven't read it, this contest was in Brisbane, Australia. What was it like having to make a game in only 2 days? That sounds downright impossible to me.
Yeah, absolutely challenging, to say the least. It was definitely my first experience with trying to do something like that on such a short time scale. So it was very frantic. There was very little sleep, lots of coffee, a lot of motivation, and getting each other to get the task done as soon as possible was really an interesting experience, but it was fun at the same time to be able to make something in such a short period of time. But overall, I really enjoyed it and was happy to have made something so fun in such a short period of time.
Oh, that's awesome. It's rewarding. You know, I can relate as a writer. It's like when you've got a deadline and it just seems impossible, but then you kind of look back on it and it's like, I made that in just a day or two. You know, definitely a proud feeling.
I can say I've definitely been in the trenches once before too, because like I participated in the 2 previous global game jams, and I remember like the times where I just like, yeah, I was surprised to sleep. So last time I did it was like it was probably on the weekend before I started my current job, and I went in my first day of work like almost like zombie mode. Like I just start off. Oh yeah, like I remember like I had 2 different red chests like for work. I brought the biggest one to lunch. It was like a mini chest you bring to the beaches, that sort of stuff. And everyone thought like it was asking, is that your lunch box? Are you carrying like an organ or something like that?
Oh yeah. All right.
That was a little bit my antidote from the last run of the game jam. So I know that you had to make a game based off the words like growth, arms, and sticky. Aside from that fact that you had to make a game based off the words, like what was your inspiration behind like the idea of like having multiple blobs like that can carry guns and shoot guns?
Well, the idea actually originated from another team member who was a part of Hitbox team that we were working with. And his idea was to kind of take the Asteroids gameplay and combine it using that sticky element of picking up weapons rather than, I guess, upgrades in general, or I guess your classic Toho-style shooters where you get, weapon upgrade icons, or I should say power-ups. In this case, each of your weapons that you pick up becomes like a power-up.
Right.
So you're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you go. But yeah, I can't take all the credit for the game. I was just one of 6 people who worked on it. So it was a really awesome experience getting to see everyone's ideas come together into one final product. Yeah. And now what we're doing is bringing it from that, kind of game jam state into a place where it can be sort of a polished product with multiple game modes and new ideas going to be added to it. So what you played at GDC is a very early alpha of what to expect in the final console and Steam version.
Excellent. We'll definitely ask more about some of the other features, or forthcoming features, but I'd also like to know, for all 3 of you guys, what are some of your favorite games of all time, and or the ones that have impacted you the most as developers?
I guess I could start.
Okay. One at a time. Yeah, whatever.
Metal Gear Solid is absolutely the first one that comes to mind. It inspired me to be in the games industry and make games. Playing Metal Gear Solid 1, I was actually talking about this earlier with a friend of mine. That part where it tells you to find the CD case and find the call number for Meryl was really inspiring for me, because you have to actually look at the physical CD case and flip it over to find the code that you need to call Meryl. And just kind of like breaking that wall into the real world where you need to use your or think outside the box, I would say. Really
think about on the box.
Yeah, it was just brilliant. That and the whole Psycho Mantis fight where you have to plug the controller into controller port 2 so he can't, predict all your moves.
And also he would call out on other Konami titles on your memory card as well.
Yeah, he would read.
He's
your
like, "Oh, you're
card.
Playing Castlevania, are you?"
That's right.
So all those unique kind of ideas that went into that game was really inspirational for me, and inspired me to become kind of a game designer. And I also really liked Okami, the Capcom kind of Zelda-style game where you're a wolf painting things and stuff. And I also am a huge fan of Super Mario 3. That was my first game ever, and it stuck with me in my heart. And I can still find all the secret whistles and coin ships and all that good stuff. So, yeah. How about you?
So I'm a big fan of the Super Nintendo era. So my favorite game would have to be Super Metroid. I'm a big fan of like the entire series, but Super Metroid especially. I even played the original one and the one on Game Boy, but Super Metroid is the one that just really I have a lot of nostalgia for, and I can remember clearly as a child going through it and figuring it out and having a lot of wow moments, and just the idea of how it's so expansive and kind of like the whole game is really like a puzzle that you need to kind of figure out where to go, but after you master that puzzle, that it kind of opens up to like more like the speedrunning type of community, and you can figure out how to secrets break the game, and that always fascinated me.
And myself, I grew up in like the Nintendo era, so I got in like 1986 on Mario and all those games. But I think some of my favorite games were like the early PC games, like some of the LucasArts titles. Especially the ones like Tim Schafer worked on, for their story and for their inclusion of humor. And I always liked how, you could have just a simple background and simple little animated characters, but it just becomes a richer world than even some of the 3D titles at the time, or like the 2.5D titles.
Oh, absolutely. I just got an original copy of Grim Fandango.
Oh, right.
I'm going to be inducting that into our Hall of Fame. It's where we review the best games of all time. And Super Metroid's already there. Metal Gear Solid.
Is that the remastered copy?
I got the original.
Oh, okay, cool.
Up this for 9 days, so great picks, everyone.
I had the chance to test out the remastered Fandango there's an event in San Francisco called the Day of the Dead. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but I love, my favorite part about that about that game itself is you can actually switch back and forth between like the remastered graphics and the classic graphics.
Really?
Oh yeah, they did that in Monkey Island as well, and that was interesting.
Yeah, so you ever want that original nostalgia feel to that game, you can definitely switch it and play it as that if you want. That's one of the best features of that game.
Yeah, I love the fact that in Day of the Tentacle you could play the entire Maniac Mansion. Like you could find an arcade game and you could play the original game in its entirety from start to finish within the other game. That was amazing. They were all on like floppy
I've never played Maniac Mansion nor the Day of the Tentacle, but I watched like the Game Grumps playthrough of Maniac Mansion, and that looks like a solid game. And I kind of want to play it.
It's hilarious and it's totally bizarre. And I spent my junior high walking around with like a tentacle hat on, like this purple baseball hat from LucasArts. And everyone's parents would be like, "What's that? What sports team is that?" Or like, "What's wrong with that kid?" Like, trust me, it's awesome.
All right, so
ask me about food.
So a question, contrary to what many think, making games isn't like some goofing off or just some merely fun hobby, but a really difficult process of hard work and creativity and commitment. what would you guys consider the most challenging part of conceiving, writing, and developing a game, such as from your experience making Armed and Gelatinous?
So I guess when conceiving a game idea, the hardest part for me is scope. In my first game, Influence, I kind of bit off more than I could chew. And with Armed and Gelatinous, it's the other way around. It was originally designed for 48 hours, which is, in terms of scope, is probably as short as you can get in terms of game development. But since then, since we're going to be taking it a lot further than that, our scope now is a little bit bigger, obviously. So the scope aspect of game design is something that a lot of people overlook. They have this great idea for something, and that's going to be the best game ever. They're going to have all these features, but you don't. It's hard to take the time to really plan out how long each of those features is going to take to implement. And so when I'm conceiving and coming up with an idea, after with Influent, the whole amount of time that game took and will continue to take in the future, for like one or two people, that game definitely was way too big. And so this time we're trying to do something a lot smaller that can be done in just a few months, and is going to allow us to move on to our next project, which will hopefully be a lot bigger and take us about a year or two to complete. So having something that will be short-term will allow us to make something that's a long-term project. So scope is probably the most important thing that I would consider.
For me, I'd say it's the collaboration concept. We've all had numerous projects. We have a lot of a diverse background working in different industries, and we've all had one time or another worked with bad team members, and that can really kind of bring the development to a halt if you have like arguments about features or scope creeping or just an unhappy client or anything like that. And that can really just put a damper on the entire development process. And you don't want the development process to be a negative thing. You want it to be fun because it is such a daunting task. And we fortunately with 3Flip, I feel that we've had a long history. We all went to college together, so we all know each other. We all know our own stresses and how we deal with those stresses. So I feel that we were working very well as a team together, and we're very fortunate right now.
Excellent. That's awesome. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I have a little side note. We'll get to some of the game's salient features in a bit, but I just wanted to say I really love the music, especially the song you've got in the preview clip. It's one of the best tracks I've heard in a game soundtrack in a while. It creates a really cool mood. So I just want to know how have you just I know you probably don't have the musician. I don't know who does the music for the game, but how have you guys approached scoring the game?
I guess I should ask, is this the song from the trailer?
Yeah, the song for the trailer, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's our friend in Australia. We actually met him through our filmmaker who's filming a lot of the 3Flip Devcast and helped us with the Kickstarter video. The artist's name is Intzu. His real name is Inti, but it's INTZU, and he has like a SoundCloud and a Bandcamp page if you want to check out more of his stuff. But yeah, we met him in Australia, and he gave us access to all of his music, so we just picked our favorite song off of one of his albums, and yeah, just have taken it from there. So that's going to be probably our main theme, and we're going to use a few more of his tracks in the finished game as well.
Okay, so I was gonna ask like if you're gonna plan on like using any more tracks to games, but that just answered my question.
Yeah. Figured, yeah, we had a script that way, but next question would be: Armed and Gelatinous is a strong emphasis on balanced multiplayer action. What are the keys to making the game's multiplayer mode function for you guys? Like what are you striving for to kind of make its multiplayer mode stand out or make it unique or fair or whatnot?
Well, I could probably hand that to Brandon because as the artist, he's going to be adding a lot of really cool, I guess, pieces of flair. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, as Rob mentioned, the actual game's going to look a little bit different. It's still keeping some of the roots of the the game style. But as far as making sure it's fair for multiplayer, I guess one thing I started working on was I noticed like one of the characters was starting to blend into the background, and I thought that gave him somewhat of an unfair advantage just because of his color and all that. So, another thing that we're trying to do is adding downloadable content that you'll be able to like customize your blob a little bit, just so that you can, it's not going to be seen over network play. It's all local multiplayer, so it'll just be something you can put on in front of your buddies, basically. We're thinking more like simple stuff like eye patches and beards and hats and things like that.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
That's kind of like the Team Fortress 2, where you can buy silly hats and goofy outfits.
Yeah, we're big old school PC guys, so that definitely spoke to us. And going off of that, we kind of want to mention that we're not a fan of the current trend of microtransactions or overpopulating your game with DLC. So a lot of that content we want to put out for basically for free.
Oh, that's a wonderful approach to it too.
It's sort of like a thank you to the users, and it's just here's extra stuff to enjoy as it goes on, like another reason to stay engaged with the game. And when you're playing with a lot of different people, that way we can actually get feedback from the user base and put things in that they might want to see. Those things don't take a whole lot of extra time, so it feels a little cheap to try to like nickel and dime someone if they've already invested in the game and they're playing it and having fun. It's just sort of like thanks for being our one of our fans. So.
Well, and also we feel that as a developer, if you respect and treat your consumer base, appropriately, they will respect you as well. And I feel that there's a lot of abuse going on right now. We don't want to lump ourselves in that camp at all.
Yeah.
Oh, music to my ears. I couldn't agree more. I think we've written commentary pieces like that on Last Token Game, where it's like, DLC. It just like what Brandon was saying. DLC shouldn't be just like, oh, you bought our game, all right, fork over some more. It's just like if you enjoyed the game, you supported it, vouched for it, here, have it for free. I think I couldn't agree more with that. All right, Jacob.
Yeah, I actually noticed more recently. I guess there's some AAA studios that are starting to add more free DLC. I believe I wrote an article on Last Token Gaming on how Witcher 3 is actually put free DLC on there, just the small little changes that it's gonna be for free. And I also noticed what was the name? I forgot the name of the company. That's kind of escaping me right now. But
something.
Project Red.
CD Projekt Red,
that's one, but there's also another studio. What's another one that's behind Fire Emblem? It's escaping me right now.
Oh, I don't know.
No. But the new Fire Emblem is going to have free DLC?
Oh no, actually, they just released their game, codenamed Steam. Oh, Intelligent Systems. That's the name of the company. Okay. So one of the biggest downfalls behind that game is the enemy turns take a little bit too long, and they're actually going to release a free patch that fixes that. So you can actually speed up the enemy turns, and it's also for free too. It's they're not going to charge you extra for that.
Yeah, patches should be free, but I think, as we're agreeing here, DLC should also be free too. So.
Yeah, I heard some upsetting news recently about the Mortal Kombat DLC system that they have. I think Anthony's privy to that. What did they do?
The easy fatality tokens. I don't agree with that system.
Yeah, apparently you can buy these tokens that allow you to do one button press fatalities, and they're a one-use item, and you have to pay every time.
Seriously?
That would be stupid if you had to pay just one time. I mean, imagine if you go back to 1995, and you had to stick a quarter in to do
your home console.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, that's pay to win. That's not a creative way of doing it.
I feel that if you have a free-to-play game on a mobile space, that kind of makes sense with that model, but not a full $60 title. No, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's done well, I really like DLC that, it's like a legitimate expansion. I think it's worth paying for. Like Monument Valley was a really fun little game, and they released their second. It's basically double the content. It was getting the whole game brand new again, and you can imagine those puzzles take a long time to figure out, and people complained and jumped all over them in the App Store, and we're saying, "What is this?" You know, another. I mean, it's less than $5. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it comes out to like hours of fun, and you know.
Yep.
Yeah, going back to that comment, like on the fatality tokens, like it just kind of takes away the fun of the fighting games in the first place. You're trying to do multiple button mashes to do certain combos, even fatalities in the old school Mortal Kombat days. Pardon me. But like if you just like get that feature that allows you to just do one button press fatalities, it just takes away the core fighting games. It's just like, what's the point?
Well, if you remember in like Mortal Kombat 3, they actually had that as like a cheat code you could enter in and turn on one button fatality. So
is that right?
Basically paying for something that they used to give you for free, you know? Like I don't like the idea of paying for cheat codes. That really doesn't sit well with me.
Oh, that's even worse. Come on, you gotta get cheat codes the right way. You gotta go online and
Get some Game Genie codes and print them out on a giant piece of paper.
Oh man, I miss those days.
And all right, Jake, I give you the fourth for the next question.
All right, so how did you guys manage to make a game that is simplistic in combat and get like well balanced in the terms of gameplay? I feel like I had something more to like kind of go off of that, but I kind of forgot.
So it was kind of like a rapid prototype that we had to make at the Game Jam. So we didn't really have much time to really play test it. So I think a lot of it was really just serendipity. I mean, we were in the right place, working with the right people at the right time, and it all just came together in kind of this beautiful form of Armed Gelatinous. And I will admit that there's been some rebalancing in the game now. So the original prototype wasn't really as balanced as it is now, especially the dash attack, which is still very unbalanced, to be completely honest. So we're going to be adding like a charge attack or a charge up state to the dash attack, so you actually will see it coming, and you'll also have to spend some time being vulnerable before you actually do that one-hit kill move. Because right now it's kind of like a free-for-all, everyone just dashing into each other. But the balance of it before you get really good at the dash attack just kind of happened naturally, and it was kind of a combination of already being kind of good at bullet hell. So if you've had experience playing a bullet hell game, just that whole dodging mechanic is something that most people are pretty good at already, which makes it easy for you to get around all that fire and then get into position to take out your enemy or whatever. But the idea of having a weapon stuck in a particular spot was based entirely off of the words that they gave us, and that just kind of worked in our favor. So I would attribute a lot of the balance and fairness to just serendipity.
Well, also I'd like to add that after our studio kind of really took over this project, we showed it off at a number of conferences, so we had a large number of different people playing this game and kind of doing things that we didn't expect them to do. Like particularly, those Germans are really crafty. When we were in Gamescom, they found a lot of exploits that we didn't really think of at the time. For example, they would collect all the weapons and become like the massive super weapon and just kind of sit around in the bottom corner and just dominate the crap out of everyone else. So because of that, we added in like a sniper rifle and some other longer range weapons, and then actually added like the Uzi in after that point and reduced its firing cone to make it a little bit lower. Just adding in those tweaks because we had these people kind of play test it for us in an open arena type of situation.
That's funny that you should mention that part, like where you can just like stick the weapons wherever you accumulate. That you can just like camp in a corner. Because I actually had that same sort of thought in my mind when I actually played your game at GDC. I'm like, I wonder if I could just hang around the corner. I could just like obliterate everybody.
Yeah, good strategy. It really is. It works. So that's why we added the sniper rifle. You may have noticed,
Heat Seeker as well,
and the heat-seeking rocket, which is still being kind of balanced. But the sniper rifle is cool because if you get far enough away from the person in the corner, let's say you go to the opposite corner, a lot of the bullets that they're shooting will fade out and dissipate before they hit you. So you're actually kind of out of their range. But the sniper rifle has the longest range in the game, and it's the fastest bullet. So if it's in the right place on your gelatinous body, you can sit up there in the corner and give him returning fire over and over again, and you'll be hitting him, whereas he won't be hitting you. So there's different strategies based on like which weapons you're carrying and where they're located and where your enemies are. So it's a rapidly changing environment.
Yeah, one thing I saw people go through the learning curve over and over watching them at the conference, especially at GDC, and you kind of watch them and you see some people figure something out right away just because of some previous gaming experience they've had, and they'll just dominate maybe right away. Other people, it's like a ramp-up time. And at first, everyone just gets as big as you can, and you just want that feeling of having all the weapons, and that's just a hilarious moment when you get like massive and you have bullets going in every direction. Then I started to notice other people that want to keep their speed, so they intentionally avoid as many weapons as they can, but only pick the ones that they want. And so that's something I'll try to do, is try to get 2, or if I can get 3 sniper rifles in roughly the same part of my body, then I'll just try to like go up and down on one side of the map, and like you can pretty much one-shot kill someone from across there if you can get them all close enough, which is really hard to do. Usually I end up with like 2 and then like something to defend one other corner of my body. So those are it's really fun to watch other people develop strategies like that.
Yeah, we really like trolling each other, like as much as we can. That's kind of one of the like pillars of our gameplay, is we want you to be able to troll your friends. And we feel that especially since we're focusing a lot more on local multiplayer, if you're playing online and a 12-year-old's trolling you, that's not a lot. You're not going to have a good time. But if you're all playing together with a bunch of friends together, then when you troll your friend that's sitting next to you, you're going to have a blast.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like about the game, is just like getting back to local multiplayer. It's just, I don't even do, honestly, I personally don't do like any online multiplayer. Like the only one I still do is just when friends come over and we all decide to do Smash Brothers or GoldenEye,
Oh, I'm the same way too. It's like you gotta have friends over and you gotta play with your friends like next to you, man.
And you have to jeopardize that friendship, by
Yeah, they can take it.
Yeah, totally. The test of friendship. So
and that's like a nice thing about that game too. It's just like that sort of local multiplayer. Just I don't like hear too many instances of it, even though like I'm actually in a video game club in the South Bay that actually we do nothing but like local multiplayer. But outside of that, it's just like it sounds like it's almost dead. So it's nice to like actually see more of that, more like it's starting to come back in the current gaming industry, aside from independent game industry as well.
Yeah. On that note, we met another indie developer at GDC. I don't know if you had a chance to play his game. It was by a company called Tipping Goat. The guy's name
Super Slam Dunk Touchdown.
Yes.
I love that game.
Yeah,
I love that game.
Yeah, and we've had a chance to get to know him a little better. We both showed our game at an event called Showdown SF in San Francisco, or SF Game Night.
Is that the event called the Foundry?
That's right. And,
I had a friend I had an acquaintance who mentioned that to me. I've yet to go to the Foundry. I heard it's super awesome.
You
absolutely have to
made for
go.
you. Like,
check it out. If you're in the area and you have time, definitely do. I think it's on Thursdays.
Tuesday and Thursdays, and everyone involved with that, they're doing it out of passion, and they're just an awesome, amazing crew that goes above and beyond every chance they get.
Absolutely. And so we were able to get a chance to sit down and play that game at length at the Showdown event. And it's so much fun. I just love the whole idea and the fact that he's also doing sort of the same thing, bringing back the couch competitive local multiplayer aspect of gaming that we've been missing for some time.
Wild Zamboni has appeared.
Yeah. Have you seen the streaker?
Yeah.
The streaker cracks me up. It takes your bullet. What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, good stuff.
Wow. All right, so we're getting close to the end here. It's been such a I just want to say it's been such a fantastic interview. You guys are absolute blast to chat with, just both about your game and just about gaming in general.
It's good to meet you guys.
Oh, thanks. And Jake, I give you the floor for the next question.
Okay, so like so you definitely had your Kickstarter link set up. Like, so what was like a purpose of the campaign? Like, what were you hoping like to accomplish with the funds, assuming like, your campaign turned out to be successful?
So, we asked for $25,000, which in game development really isn't a lot of money. I had a successful Kickstarter in the past where I asked for about $12,000, ended up getting $30,000. And in my experience with that, like, the 12 wasn't going to be enough, and I was very happy to get the 30, which was barely enough. So I asked for a little more, expecting to get more, kind of like we did in the past. And since there's 3 of us on this project, that was going to be enough to carry us 3 months of development, where we could like pay our rent and eat and keep the lights on, and hopefully pick up a new computer for our artist. But unfortunately, it wasn't successful. So what we're doing now is coming up with other funding options, and the reason we need funding is to essentially do what we do. We've kind of gone full force on this. Like, we don't really have day jobs. This is our passion, and this is what we're doing. And we want our cycle to be sustainable. And if we run out of money, then we can't do it anymore. So the idea of the Kickstarter was to give us that cushion, so that we weren't worried financially, and we could put our time into 100% into this project without taking like contract jobs or day jobs or something like that. More than anything else. But we already have a Unity license from the last Kickstarter project that I did for Influence. We already are all pretty set up with computers. Our artist just didn't have a laptop. But other than that, like, it was really just to survive on.
And also the payment for the dev kits as well.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
All right, so like...
But also a lot of good has come out of that too. I mean, we've gotten a lot of exposure. We started building our community, and also because of that, we put Arm and Gelatinous on Steam Greenlight, and we actually got greenlit within 5 days.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, that is tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, we did that for our previous title, Influent, and it was on Greenlight for over a month.
Yeah.
To give you a little bit of perspective.
It was ridiculous.
So yeah, we still don't know why or how this happened, but it's pretty awesome. We do account some of the success to a random Russian YouTuber, and also we got some support from Who's Gaming Now, who put up some advertisements for us.
Oh, awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm glad I got greenlit so fast. So.
Oh, me too.
I mean, there's definitely a demand for this game, and people are into it once they see it or even experience it. We have a free demo out. We're releasing a lot of our builds.
Yeah, we think the free demo probably helped a lot with our Greenlight, because Steam drives traffic to Greenlight, and we had a link to our demo right there. We put the link up on our Kickstarter page, but Kickstarter wasn't really driving traffic to our Kickstarter page, probably mostly due to their saturation, especially in the gaming space. I mean, we were named a staff pick on Kickstarter, which I thought really meant something, but when we looked into it, there was a very high percentage of Kickstarter projects that were staff picks, so I don't know if it really means much anymore.
I was going to ask about that. I noticed that at the top left corner. I was like, oh, awesome, but then, it's, turns out everyone gets through something like that. But still, what a thrill, to be greenlit on Steam and get that exposure, especially from other sources. So, and hoping we can do our part in helping you too. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I've voted for you guys on Steam Greenlight, but I'm just very glad now that it's going to be coming out. I'll be like, I'm going to get that game now. They'll support you guys.
Right, we got at least one sale.
No matter what happens, it's coming out for sure.
Yeah. On that note, we also have a good relationship with Sony and Microsoft. We've met with both of them at GDC. They're excited about the game, so we're going to be coming out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So you can play it on your console, or you can play it on Steam, or I think we might even push out on some of those small Android devices as well. Because I know NVIDIA's got a cool one coming out, the Shield.
Oh, I played that one. That's a cool one.
Yeah. So we'll probably try to get Arm and Gelatinous on as many platforms as possible.
Yeah, we were hoping during GDC there'd be more of like a hoorah about the Steam box, because they're kind of announcing it, but it just kind of pittered out a little bit.
In favor of VR, I guess.
Yeah, the Vive. And Half-Life 3 rumors, of course.
It's just kind of weird. Like, it was just kind of like fading, like a little bit more obscure. But now, like, NVIDIA's like, hey, we got our own console coming out now. Hey, jump on the train.
Oh, yeah. Well, I gotta say, you guys have basically. We had just like a few questions left, and you've basically answered them all. So, I really appreciate hearing about the game, hearing about a bit about your lives as developers. Some of your favorite games. This has just been one fantastic interview. Really appreciate it, and
actually, Actually, do you mind if I interrupt for like one little small little question? So you did mention like you did have some talks with like Sony and Microsoft. You said like it's coming out for like PS4, Xbox One. Do you have like a project like a ETA of when that's going to come out for those two consoles?
I guess like our ETA now is in the summertime, maybe late summer. But you know, there's always, especially in indie development, like setbacks, and maybe if we want to add like other features, like we're going to be, you know, maybe adjusting that date. But right now, our goal is to have it out like July that time. So we're going to be pushing forward to that. But you know, things happen, so we're gonna do our best to meet that deadline. But I also wanted to say that we're going to be kind of releasing videos and talking about our current development process on this 3Flip Devcast, which is something that we started around GDC, and we have 3 episodes out and a couple of other videos along with that. And so we're going to be, I guess, keeping our community updated so we can, you know, let you know if anything changes in person. So. Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds great. And then you mentioned about like how you're looking like other like campaign options. Have you guys ever considered like Teespring? I know like a Tipping Goat was started going like had that sort of like play in the back burner in case that Kickstarter campaign failed. And so I guess apparently I guess you could set your goal like how many T-shirts. Like instead of how many T-shirts you're supposed to sell, if you reach that number, you can just crank out those T-shirts for the people who like contributed. Like. Mm-hmm. That's the gist of it. I think that's what I got from it. But I know you can also like sell your T-shirts. It should help raise a little bit more funds. It would not be as much as Kickstarter, but you would still get something, which is better than nothing, really.
Huh. Yeah, it's a good idea. I heard about Teespring, yeah, from Rick at Tipping Goat, and I actually still haven't checked it out yet. But I'll give it a look, and yeah, we'll see how it appeals to us.
All right.
Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you guys giving your time for the site, and you know, hopefully we can provide, you know, do our part in providing some more publicity for this game, which we'll definitely buy and cover when it comes out, hopefully in July. I'll definitely be getting it on Steam.
Yeah, 2 sales.
So now you got 2 sales. Buy one more if we can get enough people from us to game to buy it.
Sweet.
Thanks, guys. That means a lot to us, really.
Sweet. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having us on.
Oh, thank you guys for agreeing to our interview.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll set us up. Thanks again very much. Again, we're joined by Rob Howland, Brandon Jones, and Anthony Prusakowski from 3Flip Games. Again, they're the developers of Armed and Gelatinous. Be sure to check their game out. We'll include videos and links of the game into the game's official site, so you can lend your support there. Again, I'm Marshall Garvey, joined by Jake Rushing and 3Flip Studios, and this has been one fantastic interview. Thank you guys very much, and everyone have a great night.
All right. See ya.
Thanks again.
See you all later.
Yeah.